chosen a quote today that has inspired me for class, and it goes like this. It says, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. I'll read it again. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And the person who wrote the quote was Vivian Green. So this quote resonates obviously at the moment because we really are going through a storm, right? There's all sorts of things happening, whether it's COVID and further restrictions and numbers going up, whether it's like the craziness of our political system, whether it's personal things that are going on. I mean, in my own life, my mom actually had COVID, and she's really struggling with all. She's fine physically, but she was struggling with delirium and all sorts of stuff in reality. It's just, there's a lot of things going on, right? So, and it could be, you know, dealing with the kids, it could be dealing with parents, it could be whatever's going on, any relationships. There's just a lot going on, or just being able to continue with a business, or just seems like everything at once is sort of challenging, right? So we could sort of just try to give up. We could try and run away. We can, you know, for a lot of people, you know, it's like there's a lot of when this finishes, this is what I'm going to do, and they're kind of putting their lives on hold, right, until this all passes. But yoga really is about riding through storms, right? Riding storms, however crazy they are, and trying to do it with as much ease as possible. That is really what yoga is. So it's like, how do we learn to live with all the challenges and in the craziness, and even maybe enjoy the inevitable storms of life, right? And it's sometimes, even when these are really rough storms. So can we face the challenges head on? Can we embrace life's struggles? In the process, we can maybe find out more about ourselves, right? Can we recognize that some things are really beyond our control, right? There's things we just cannot, we can't control what's going to happen with COVID, unfortunately. We can control how we respond, right? Whether we wear masks or how much we go out into the world. But there's definitely a lot of things we cannot control relating to COVID. But there are things that we can choose. There are things that we can control. We can try to work out if we can find inner peace in amongst all the craziness that's going on outside of us, right? So it's about also finding your unique strengths and using these during these difficult times. So, you know, part of it also is recognizing that things are temporary, right? Even though they might be a long temporary, we don't know, right? But that also includes our lives, right? They're also temporary. Although that seems like a bit morbid, actually, when we realize it's only temporary, maybe we can think about how can we enjoy each moment? How can we live in the present and make the most of it, right? How can we find gratitude for what we have? How can we just find silly things to laugh at, right? And just be completely, you know, just do silly things, have fun, make light of things, you know, maybe thinking about going into nature more, just noticing what pampering things things that you can do to pamper yourself to just make the experience a better experience. So our challenge today in class is finding ways that we can dance in the rain, right? When things are really challenging in our yoga pose, right? We can get mad, we can get frustrated, we can give up, or we can face that challenge, right? It doesn't mean accepting pain, right? If it's painful, back off. But if it's challenging, can we face that challenge? Can we maybe find an inner or an outer smile? Is there something we can do to make the experience more pleasant, or just notice that it's temporary and it will end, and work through it until the next thing comes, right? So that is our challenge, and I'll read it one more time, the quote. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. Okay, so we're going to start on the back, and just make sure that you've got close to you a strap or equivalent. So we'll just grab onto the strap, put it next to us, and we're just going to come lying down here on the mat. Now here, just notice your connection with the ground and how good it feels, hopefully, just to really be lying down. Okay, so notice, so finding those beautiful things in life, even if it's just the feeling of lying on the floor, even that can feel good. And just have your toes just falling out to the side. Just notice how you don't have to control anything in your body, just letting it go. Okay, and then you can close your eyes here. And just noticing any sounds around you. So you're bringing yourself into the present. Being in this moment. It's whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, just making sure that you don't miss that moment. And just scanning your body, noticing if there's any tension anywhere. And before we even come to breath, maybe we can just shake everything out. So you can just make some movement, just shake anything that feels like it's a little tense, just letting it go and just flopping everything back to the ground. And then bringing your attention to your breath. Just noticing it. How amazing is it that our breath sustains us? And then working with your breath, you're going to slow it down and breathe through the nose. So long, slow inhales and long, slow exhales, all through the nose. Finding some gratitude for that breath, for our bodies, which are really amazing. You're going to place your right hand on your belly, left hand on your chest. And then you can continue with your breath. And as you fill your lungs completely, feeling your hands rising and lifting, and as you exhale, letting them fall with your breath. So just being conscious that you're really expanding both through the lungs and through the diaphragm. Three more breaths like that. Excellent. And then you can release your arms to the side. You can slowly open your eyes and you can bring your legs up. So it's like waterfall, legs up the wall. The most important thing here is you're keeping your lower back pressed down to the ground. So if you're finding that super difficult, you just bend your knees a bit and that's all fine. Toes coming in towards you. Inhale, pointing the toes. And exhale, bringing them in. So if you've got an injury on your ankle, just being careful here, seeing if it works, moving it, maybe having some movement might help, or maybe it feels difficult. So just listening to yourself, you can always remain still here. Inhaling up, exhale, bringing the feet, the toes in towards the body. And then you can also work on finding some ankle turns here and maybe going both ways, so trying both ways. Excellent. You're going to then bring that left leg down towards the ground without it reaching there, and out to the side and back up. So you're just making some circles. So maybe inhaling, coming back up, and exhaling, bringing the leg down and around, inhaling up. So maybe one more, really pressing that lower back into the ground, and we're going to work the other one. Exhaling down and around, inhaling up. It's quite hard work, so just noticing the challenge. See if you can face it head on. See if you can find a little smile, even if it's really trying. And bringing the knees in, giving yourself a really nice squeeze. Bringing the feet out about max distance apart and just allowing the knees to fall in towards each other and closing the eyes for a moment. Just bringing yourself back to this space, to what's happening in the moment, enjoying a little pause. Excellent. We're going to bring the knees up so they're facing up to the sky. The feet are still quite wide. Arms can come out to the sides, palms up, and we're just dropping the knees over to the left, taking a breath while you're here. And then we're going to inhale, coming up, and dropping them over to the other side and just taking a breath here. Noticing the parts that you really enjoy, right? There might be certain poses you like more than others. Just putting your attention there on the ones that feel really good. And the ones that feel challenging, maybe just noticing once you get through them, how it feels to have got through them. So we're going to take the strap or equivalent, and you can either have, so you're going to have the right leg is going to be down. It can be straight or you can bend the leg. So if you've got lower back issues, I particularly encourage that you just, to begin with, you bend your knee. Otherwise, you can have the leg all the way down. And we're just putting the strap or equivalent around that foot and maybe pulling it in towards your head. Just breathing here. So we're not pushing ourselves beyond our edge. You might reach your edge, feel where it feels challenging, and then just pause here. We don't need to get to a pose where we're doing an amazing, crazy pose with the foot coming up to the head or whatever. If that works for you, that's great, but there's no need to do something that looks fancy. We're just working with where our bodies are. Taking a few breaths. So maybe 3 deep breaths. And as we did at the beginning, see if you can fill the lungs, fill the belly with your breath. And then exhale, letting it all out. You can always close your eyes at any point during the class and go a little bit more inwards, finding that inner peace. Finding that piece of you that you can always access, even in the middle of a storm. Deep breaths. Excellent. Now, for those of you who've got the bent knee, you're going to place it down and lengthen that leg. And then you're going to all bring the right hand onto the right hip, pressing that hip down. And we're going to move the left leg over to the left. So we're just opening here. You might have more flexibility. You might grab onto the big toe and do it this way instead. But for most of us, we'll just be using the strap. You're trying not to lift that right hip up. That's not where we're going. We're trying to keep the hips even on the ground. It doesn't matter where that leg comes to. It can just come anywhere between up to the sky and down on the ground. Anywhere in between is absolutely fine. Breathing here. bringing that leg back up to center. We're switching the grasp of the strap, and the left arm can come out. We're going to come into a twist here. So that leg is just coming down towards the ground. Again, it doesn't have to go down towards the ground. Trying to keep this left shoulder pressing down on the ground is more important than getting the foot close to the ground. And again, you can close your eyes at any time. Breathing here, noticing where you feel the sensations in your body. How does it feel? What happens in your mind when things get tough and challenging? Can you find a way to find gratitude even when it's tough? Inhale, bringing the leg back up. The right can come to meet the left. And you're just pulling both legs in, trying to keep that lower back on the ground. So again, you can always bend the knees. Breathing here. And then we're going to switch. So the left leg can be on the ground, or the foot can be on the ground, or you can lengthen that leg out. And we're just pulling this leg in towards the head, but just gently. We're just waking up the hamstrings this morning. Working and focusing on those long, slow breaths will really help you to keep you in the present moment with what's going on here. Nurturing yourself. And then you can, everybody lengthening out that left leg, the left hand on the left hip, pressing it down, reminding you to keep those hips even. And you're just moving the leg out towards the right. Finding your pose, closing your eyes, going inwards if you'd like, breathing here. Notice if your mind is wandering, see if you can bring it back if it goes off on an adventure. You can notice it, you can smile at whatever adventure it was or not, just move it aside and see if you can bring your mind back to the present. And then that leg comes back through center, switching the hands over, and we're going to bring the right arm out to the side, moving the leg out towards the left. And you can turn and look over the right fingertips if you like, finding your spinal twist here. One more long, slow breath. Bringing that leg back up, bringing both feet back up for a final waterfall pose here for a moment, and releasing the strap, just moving it to the side. Oops. And you can move up and down, giving yourself a little massage on the back. So just rolling the spine out. And then we're going to come into a seated pose and just do a quick breathing exercise here. So it's called Brahmacharya. I think most of you have done it with me. But we're going to make it slightly different. We're going to use 3 fingers on both sides this time. Brahmacharya is bumblebee breath. So what happens is you're going to use your thumbs. We're going to close off some of the external things, you know, the external senses, and so it helps us to go more inwards. So what happens is that the thumbs are used on the little bits of cartilage in the ear. So you're just, the thumb doesn't go inside the ear, it just presses that little bit of cartilage that's the little flap there, and you're just pressing it, so it kind of mutes things a little bit. You press that in, your index fingers are just gently on your eyelids, and then the ring finger, just making sure that that's what it is, getting confused with so many different things going on, is going over your mouth. Okay, so what happens is you just hum and you keep humming. So you take deep breaths between each hum and you just make that sound. You might feel a bit silly, it's okay. Part of this, part of finding how to dance in the rain is going beyond your comfort zones and pushing yourself to do things that you don't usually do, right? So I'll show you how it goes. We're just closing off eyes, mouth, ears. We take a deep breath in through the nose and then start to hum. Last round. And whenever you're ready, just dropping the hands down to your thighs. You can have your eyes closed, just sitting with the vibrations. And then you can open your eyes, inhaling, arms reach up. We're just coming into a twist here, left hand on the right knee, right hand behind you. Just using the hand just to twist around. And then you can drop your left ear towards the left shoulder, getting length through the right side of the neck. Taking a few deep breaths here. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, coming over the other side, twisting here. And the ear coming over to the shoulder, so right ear, right shoulder. Breathing here, finding that length through your breath. Calming up through center. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to come onto hands and knees just for a moment, just so that we can line ourselves up for coming into a plank pose on the forearms. So gently, being gentle with yourself. Now, if this is too much for ankle, you can always drop the knees and just have the feet coming down. So you're just bringing the arms underneath, elbows underneath the shoulders. And we're just we can move from side to side a little bit here. Calming to center. Just walking the feet up towards the elbows. Again, this is quite challenging. We're pressing the hips back and up, finding your dolphin. That right leg can come up to the sky. And exhale, bringing the knee in towards the nose. It's hard. Just noticing how you're feeling. The leg comes back up and down, pressing backwards. Other side, left leg up, exhaling it, bringing it into center. Back up and down. Knees come down. Walking forward, puppy dog. So the butt or the hips are just above the knees, chin and chest coming down towards the ground. slowly finding your way up. Now, we're going to find a little bit of movement here from side to side. Maybe we can come into some circles in one direction and then the other. We're going to come into center. We're going to be on our knees here, but we're just going to come into a half press up. So we just, or rather, we're just pressing down. So the front part just stays long. We're coming all the way down here. Excellent. We're going to take that right leg and bring it in. Now, if that doesn't work, we've got straps or equivalents that you can just place around that leg and try and just pull that in towards your body. You can always look around that right shoulder, trying to keep the hip down on the ground. Now you can stay here, or if you want to take it a bit deeper, you can lift the left arm that's coming alongside my body, and the left leg is pressing back and lifting up. So there's lots of things going on here, just as it might do in a storm. See if you can breathe through it. And release. Hands come down, one on top of the other. Forehead down. Relax. Just let it go. So we're going to work the other side. The left leg comes in. Again, you can use your strap. You're just trying to bring the heel towards your butt. So you can press that in. If you want to just stay there, that's perfectly challenging. Or you can lift that right leg up, right arm coming up and lifting through your chest. You can look around the left arm. You can just look ahead, breathing here. And release. Hands again down, one on top of each other, forehead down. Taking a breath. My hands are going to come either side of your chest here. Inhaling, coming on up. So it's cactus arms. Inhaling, going to look around your right leg, or right shoulder at your right leg. Inhale, coming into center. And exhaling, you can look around the other way. Inhale, back to center. Excellent. Slowly coming down. And then we're going to bring ourselves back onto those forearms. Tucking the toes, maybe lifting up the hips and knees. Again, if this is really hard on ankle or anything else, you just keep with your knees down. Taking a couple of breaths here. We can lift that right leg up, maybe just tapping it onto the top of that back foot for a moment. Maybe even bringing it in towards the right side and bringing it back. Lifting that left side, maybe tapping the back of that heel, lifting it up and bringing it over towards the left side. Coming back. Excellent. Coming onto the hands. Here, knees are going to come down, pressing back, child's pose. Deep breath. We're going to come up forward, tucking the toes, finding your downward facing dog. So again, if you've got ankle issues, you're just going to have to be careful. You might find you want to do this on one leg. You might find it just doesn't work for you. You just have to play and see what you can handle. Lengthening, getting length through your back. Maybe bending your knees a lot, finding that length. And then working on straightening out those legs. We're going to take the right foot, lift it up behind you, bending through that knee, opening up through that hip here, and then lengthening it back up and bringing it on the outside of your hand, right hand. So we can find some forward and backward movement here. And again, that back knee can always be down as an option. Excellent. Now we're going to turn onto the edge of the back foot. So we're just the back foot's perpendicular to the front now. And you might want to use blocks here, or if you have any, something equivalent. So you can use a block and just open up to the side here. If you want, you can bring that top arm and reach over. And if you don't have blocks, that's okay too. Just finding what works for you. You can always bring your arm up onto your thigh. Excellent. Taking a breath or two here. And then we're bringing the hand back down, twisting back onto the ball of the back foot. And you can bring your hand on either side of that front leg. Now, you've got a choice here. If you've got blocks, you can use blocks or just use the ground. What we're just going to work on is just coming forward and back, but trying to keep length through the back. So we're just inhaling and exhaling with the breath. Excellent. Great. Back knee drops. Hands can come down. Right foot comes back to meet the left. Tucking the toes, downward facing dog. So you can play with the down dog, you can bend the knees, you can bend one knee and then the other, whatever feels good. And then we're lifting up through that left leg, lifting it high, bending through the knee and opening up that hip. Inhale, lifting up again and bending it in so you can step on the outside of that hand. Excellent. So again, you can drop that back knee, you can move forward and back here. And we can turn that back foot out to the side, finding the side stretch here. Side opening, maybe opening the arm up through the front. Remember, you can use books or equivalent if you would like. Taking a couple of breaths. Inhaling, arm comes back, hand comes down. You're coming onto the ball of that back foot. And again, you can use blocks if you like, or equivalent. And you're just moving forward and back. So you're trying to lengthen through that left leg, left hip coming back, finding length through the back, and then bending forward and finding that length again. Inhaling forward, exhaling, lengthening here. Couple more. Lovely. Calming on with down with the hands, knee can come down, left leg can come back to meet the right. We're going to come into frog pose. So what happens is we're going to move the knees out. Everything's trying to be in right angles. So the ankle is at a right angle, the knee is at a right angle, and the hip. So you're just going to work your way down in the best way that you can. It's not terribly comfortable. So again, we're just working well in this discomfort. How do we survive this? And not just survive this, how do we maybe relish or find something that we can gain from this moment? So breathing here. letting go of any tension in your shoulders. So moving the shoulders away from the ears. You can also move your jaw from side to side, letting any tension go there. And see if you can take 6 deep breaths. Slowly finding your way up. Those knees can come together. We're going to come up onto the knees here, elbows pointing back. So the thumbs are coming in towards each other, elbows pointing back towards each other, squeezing in. So you can stay here and the tops of the feet can be down, or you can tuck your toes. You're pressing your hips forward, opening up here. So this is camel pose, Strasana. So you're working to open the chest. And maybe you can bring your hands down. You may be able to get there or you may not. It's all okay. There's no requirements to get anywhere at all. And everybody is different. Taking a breath wherever you are. Pressing those hips forward. And inhale. Arms come up. Exhaling. Hands to heart center. If you can, coming down onto the backs of the heels, or otherwise finding a comfortable way to just take a moment here. So we're going to come up into standing, finding yourself wherever you get to, at the top of your mat. We're going to inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. We're going to move over to the left side, getting a nice side stretch. Inhale through center and exhale, calming over to the right. Calming on up. We're going to take that right leg up, lifting it high, crossing it over the left leg. Exhaling, hands to heart center, and maybe coming down any amount. So you're just noticing it's kind of like a one-legged chair here. Breathing, finding something to focus on that doesn't move so that you can try and maintain your balance. And just finding that smile, that inner or outer smile, if you feel like it. If you fall over, all good wherever you get to. Inhale, coming up. Switching the legs, putting that one down. Inhale, reaching all the way up. This time moving onto the right. Inhale, center. And exhale, over to the left. Calming through center. Lifting the left leg up. Exhaling, crossing it over. Finding your way down. Breathing here. Inhale, calming on up, releasing that foot. Palms can come out away from you. Tadasana. Mountain pose, closing the eyes. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. Ha. Inhaling nose. Exhale mouth. Ha. Inhale nose. Exhaling mouth. Ha. Excellent. And you can open your eyes up here. Great. We're going to take a standing pose. Hands can come heart center. And we're just going to actually grab onto your strap. So again, if your ankle is challenging in this, you can hold onto the wall. If you've got a wall space near you, I know that maybe you're outside. So you can also do this sitting down. If the standing's not going to work, you can find a way to use the strap sitting down, okay? For everybody else, we're going to use the strap. So we're going to work in a similar way that we did at the beginning of class, using that strap or equivalent around the right foot. Taking a breath here, or a few. Trying to find that balance is not so easy, especially when there's a lot of craziness around. So just breathing into it, finding your breath. You can always find support, whether it's a wall or something else to help you. That left arm can come out to the side. And we're moving this leg out to the right. Breathing here, trying to find balance. If it doesn't work, finding some humor maybe. Taking another breath. And then inhaling, calming through center, switching the hands that are holding the strap. That right hand can come out behind you, and you can maybe move the foot just a little bit over to the left. Maybe you can look behind you. It's challenging. And release. Shaking out those legs. Other side. So you got the left leg, lifting it up, finding length. Trying to keep your spine straight. So one of the things in this pose, and the leg doesn't have to be so high up, it can be any distance off the floor, right? But what happens in this pose is quite often we end up leaning back to try and get a bit more height. It's better to have a straight back and have the foot wherever it gets to. So breathing here. And then we're going to bring the right arm out. Whee! However that balance works. Finding that smile. If you can. And there's no requirements. It's annoying when someone tells you to smile when you don't feel like it too. So just noticing where your mood is today, and it's all fine, wherever you are. Breathing here. Notice the wobbles. It's okay. That's what happens when things are challenging. And calming back through center. Switching the wrist, or the hold of the strap, and maybe bring the left arm back, looking back at that left arm if that feels okay or doable. Remember, you can always use some support. Or you can do this in a seated pose. Calming back to center, releasing the strap, palms coming out, Tadasana, feet solid. So we're really grounding, connecting to the earth, opening the palms, shoulders down away from the ears, closing the eyes. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhaling, mouth. One more time. And then you can gently open your eyes. We're going to come down to the ground for a moment. We'll do a little bit of time working with Navasana. So again, if you want to, since we've got something strapped like, you can use your strap to come around your feet, and you can play with lengthening here. But you're trying to keep your back super straight, and maybe you find that the lengthening is not really helpful because it makes your back round. So then it's better to just be here. So you can play with whatever works. Breathing. Opening through the chest here will help you with your back, keeping it lengthened. And release the strap, maybe keeping the feet off the ground, and you're just lengthening here. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, lengthening. Inhale, finding yourself up. Exhale, lengthening. Inhale, coming up. And then we're just going to bring the feet down and roll down one vertebrae at a time. Again, notice how good that feels to be down on the ground. Palms face up. Just close your eyes for a moment. All good. Bending the knees, we're just going to play a little bit with bridge pose. Always great for getting length in the spine. So you press your feet down, your legs are hips distance apart, and your arms can press down into the ground, shoulders pressing into the ground. And inhale, just lifting up here. So the hips are coming up. You're finding length all the way from the shoulders up towards your knees. You can, if you like, see if you can pop your hands underneath your lower back here and give yourself a bit of support. Other options are you can interlace your fingers here, whatever works. If you want to, you can also place a block underneath your sacrum, that flat part at the base of your spine. We can lift the left leg up, finding length, maybe crossing that leg over the other in figure of 4. Inhale, leg comes back up again, and placing the foot down. Leg comes up, pressing the ball of the foot up, bending the knee, crossing the ankle over the other knee, opening the hip. Inhale, foot comes back up, and then the foot comes down to the ground, rolling one vertebra at a time, back down to the floor. Knees come into chest, giving yourself a really nice hug, rolling from side to side. So we're going to play with shoulder stand. If shoulder stand doesn't work for you, you can come up into waterfall. If you have a block or books, you can place it underneath your hips. So I'll show you. I'm just going to face the other way for a moment. So you can bring, you can bring the block, if you have one, underneath the lower back, and you can just bring your legs up the wall. Right, so that's one option if you don't want to go into shoulder stand. If you do want to go into shoulder stand, the idea here is that you just want to feel no pressure on your neck. So you don't want to feel any pain in your neck, otherwise you come out of it directly. So we're just going to press ourselves up and press the balls of the feet up into the sky. So you might feel like it's not that comfortable because you've got your chin to your chest, or it might be a variation of this. And we're just going to play with bringing the toes in and pointing them. So even when if you're in waterfall, you can also do this, where you're just pointing the toes, and then you're bringing the toes in, pointing the toes, and bringing the toes in. And you can also come into ankle circles and the other direction. And we can also widen through the legs, coming into a straddle. And again, we can work with playing with pointing and flexing the feet. And we can also work with ankle circles if it feels okay, but not if it doesn't. Bringing the feet up. We're going to bring the knees either side of the ears if it works. So bringing them either side of the ears, or that direction. And the other thing we can do is play with straightening through the leg. Now you might find that your feet don't get down to the ground, and that's okay too. Just lots of different options. Taking a couple of breaths here. You might, if your feet are touching the ground, you can interlace fingers, bring the arms back. 2 more breaths if it feels good. And then slowly finding your way, rolling down to the ground. We're going to come into eagle legs if it feels good. So the right coming over the left. We'll also come into eagle arms, left over right. We're going to inhale, lengthening here. And exhale, bringing the elbows to the knees. Taking 3 breaths. When you're done releasing the arms, the legs stay as they are. The arms can come out to the side. And we're going to move the knees over to the left side. So another variation of a spinal twist. Closing your eyes and breathing here. Bringing the knees to center, unraveling the legs left over right this time. You can then bring the right arm over the left and you're lengthening everything out as far as it will go, stretching it, and then bringing elbows to knees, taking 3 breaths here. Releasing the arms, they just come out to the side. The knees can come out to the right as well. Breathing here, maybe looking over the left arm, taking some breaths. And then coming back to center, unraveling everything. You can shake everything out if it needs any more. Letting go of whatever works for you. And then just bringing yourself down to the mat, allowing your feet to just come out and let go, falling to the sides. Palms face up, arms just coming away from your body. You've got as much space as you want. Pressing shoulders into the ground. And in Shavasana, giving yourself the gift of doing nothing. You don't have to control your breath. You don't need to change anything. Just let yourself go. Finding ease in this moment. Finding a little bit of movement in your body, maybe wriggling fingers or toes, maybe circling your wrists and your ankles. You can also see if you need to find any movement in your head, maybe moving it from side to side. And you can bring your arms up overhead, finding a really nice juicy stretch. Again, finding those little things, those little moments that are really enjoyable. And then bringing the knees into your chest, giving yourself an unconditional hug. Life is really challenging. It's not easy. But being there for yourself, having your back, and rolling onto your right side, just finding yourself in a fetal pose. You can have your right arm under your ear if you like. And gently then pressing yourself up into a seated pose, however that feels good. So it can be on your knees, it can be cross-legged, lotus, whatever feels good. Finding length through your back. And we're going to end with some alternate nostril breathing. So you're going to use your right hand to block off. So you're going to use your thumb on the right hand to block off your right nostril, your ring finger on your right hand to block off your left nostril. So we're going to inhale through the left for the count of 6. We're going to hold the breath in for the count of 4. And then we're going to exhale through the right side for the count of 6. Inhale, same side, right side 6, hold 4, exhale, left 6. I will talk you through it. So sitting up really tall, inhaling deeply through both nostrils to begin with, and exhaling everything out. Again, inhale through both nostrils, and exhale everything out. Bringing hand up to the face, blocking off the right nostril. Inhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And release the hand. Just notice how you feel. Notice if you're able to access, even if it's just a tiny bit, that little inner peace or that peace within you that we can learn to access at any time. Bringing the hands to heart center. Inhale, we're going to reach out to both sides and all the way up, touching at the top. And exhale, bringing that in towards the heart center. Inhale, reaching the arms up and out, touching. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out and then up to touch. And exhale, bringing into heart center. Pausing here. I'm just going to repeat the quote that inspired this class, and hopefully it will help you through the week. So life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. So finding gratitude for many things, but also for taking the time for your body and your mind today. And then bringing the hands up to the third eye center between the eyebrows. It's a pleasure guiding you all through your practice today. Thank you for being with me, and namaste.